We need to tell the Azuri about this ship, Commander Hyun said, looking at the dark shape on the screen. Gina shook her head. Not yet, Commander. Let's learn more about it first. Hyun thought for a moment, then nodded. You're right. Son, get a small team ready. We're going to check out that ship. 2 hours later, Hyun, Gina, Sun, and 2 security officers named Tae and Mina sat in a small exploration ship. They flew away from Harmony Station toward the moon. The mystery ship was hiding in the shadow behind the moon. The Azuri will notice we're gone, Sun said as he steered their ship. I told them we needed to check some equipment on our lunar base, Hyun replied. We have a few hours. As they got closer to the moon, they turned off their main lights. They didn't want the Azuri to see where they were going. The small ship moved quietly into the moon's shadow, and there it was. The unknown ship was bigger than they expected. It was long and thin with no windows or visible engines. Its surface was black, darker than the space around it. It seemed to swallow light rather than reflect it. It's old, Sun whispered, looking at his instruments. Really old. How can you tell? Mina asked. No energy readings at all. No heat. Nothing. It's been dead for a very long time. Sun pointed to small marks on the ship's hull. And look at those. Small hits from space rocks. That takes centuries to form. Hyun looked at Gina. Can we go inside? Gina checked her readings. There's still some air inside. Very thin, but we can add to it. The hull is intact. Their ship moved closer and connected to what looked like an entrance on the mystery ship. With a soft click, they locked on. Suits on, Hyun ordered. Everyone put on their spacesuits, just to be safe. The door to the mystery ship was hard to open. It hadn't been used in a very long time. Finally, with a loud creak, it moved. Inside, it was dark and cold. Their lights showed a long hallway with strange writing on the walls. The air was thin but breathable. Slowly, they removed their helmets. What language is this? Tae asked, looking at the writing. Gina moved closer to the wall. I don't know, but... She touched one of the symbols. This looks like an old form of Korean writing. That's impossible, Hyun said, but he didn't sound convinced. This ship must be very old. They moved deeper into the ship. The halls were narrow, made for people their size, not for the taller Azuri. They found rooms with beds, a control room with dead screens, and a large space that might have been for eating. It's a human ship, Sun said finally. Everything here is made for humans. In the center of the ship, they found a large round room. In the middle was a device that looked like a pillar made of metal and crystal. It reminded Gina of the quantum devices they had been working on, but much more complex. This must be the engine, she said, walking around it. But I've never seen anything like it. Sun was looking at a small control panel on the wall. Suddenly, the panel lit up with a soft blue light. It still has some power, he said, surprised. The others gathered around. The panel showed symbols and numbers, but in a strange old style. Gina tried to make sense of it. I think this is a date, she said, pointing to one set of numbers. If I'm reading this right, this ship was built in the year 1023. That's over 1,000 years ago, Mina said. That can't be right. Hyun looked serious. The year 1023. Humanity was barely out of the Dark Ages. We had swords and horses, not spaceships. According to our history, Gina reminded him. They continued exploring and found something even more surprising. In a small room near the back of the ship, they found a box made of a strange metal. When Sun opened it, they saw it was full of data crystals, small clear stones that could hold information. These might still work, Sun said, carefully putting one in his pocket. If we can read them. Suddenly a loud noise came from outside the ship. A bright light shone through a small window in the hallway. Someone's out there, Tae whispered. They hurried back to the entrance. Through the small window in the door, they saw another ship connected to the mystery vessel. It had the smooth, glowing look of Azuri technology. They followed us, Hyun said. We need to hide. They ducked into a side room, Just as the door opened, two Azuri walked into the old ship. One was Ambassador Talorn. The other was the Azuri chief scientist. "Are you sure humans found this ship?" the scientist asked. "Yes," Talorn replied. "Our sensors showed their small ship coming here. They must have detected it somehow." The Azuri walked past the room where the humans were hiding. The humans kept very quiet. "This can't be a human ship," the scientist said. "It's too advanced. Maybe it belongs to the precursors." "The same ones who left technology on our world?" Talorn asked. "Possibly. The design looks similar." The Azuri continued down the hallway, their lights shining on the walls. As soon as they were out of sight, Hyun whispered to his team, "We need to get back to our ship." Quietly, they moved silently toward the exit. Just as they were about to leave, Hyun stopped and looked at a small symbol carved on the doorframe. It was the same hexagonal pattern they had seen before. He took a quick picture with his small camera. Back on their own ship, they quickly disconnected from the mystery vessel and moved away, staying in the moon's shadow to hide from the Azuri. "They're looking for the same thing we are," Sun said. "But they don't know what this ship really is." "And neither do we," Hyun replied. "Not yet." When they returned to Harmony Station, they went straight to Hyun's office. Sun connected the data crystal they had taken to a special reader. "These crystals are very old technology," he said, "but the basic idea is the same as our modern data storage." The screen flickered, then showed an image. It was a man wearing simple clothes like from ancient times. He had Asian features and spoke in an old language. The computer tried to translate. "I am Master Beck of the Hidden Valley Scholars," the man said. The translation was rough but understandable. "This is the final recording before we hide our work. The ships must be hidden. The knowledge is too dangerous." The image became unclear for a moment, then continued. "If anyone finds this, know that we did what we had to do." The temporal horizon. Project must remain secret until humanity is ready. We have hidden our ships across the solar system. This one will sleep behind Earth's moon until the right time. The image ended. The four humans looked at each other in shock. "Temporal horizon," Gina repeated. "What does that mean?" "And who were these Hidden Valley Scholars?" Sun asked. Before anyone could answer, the station's communication system beeped. Ambassador Talorn was requesting an urgent meeting. Hyun looked at the others. "They know we found the ship. We need to decide what to tell them." "Not everything," Gina said firmly. "Not until we know more." Hyun nodded slowly. "I'll meet with Talorn. The rest of you keep studying that data crystal. We need to know what we're dealing with." As Hyun left for the meeting, Gina looked again at the image from the crystal. The man called Master Beck. She couldn't shake the feeling that they had just found something that would change everything they knew about human history. The big space station called Harmony turned slowly above Earth. Its metal sides shined in the sunlight. Inside, Commander Hyun Park walked quickly through the long hallways. Today was a very important day. Aliens were coming to visit humans for the first time. "Is everything ready?" Hyun asked, checking his uniform one more time. Next to him, Science Officer Gina Kim nodded. "Yes, Commander. The welcome room is prepared. All systems are working well." Hyun took a deep breath. He had trained many years for space work, but nothing had prepared him for meeting beings from another world. The aliens called themselves the Azuri. They had sent a message to Earth 3 months ago. Their ships could travel faster than light, something humans were still trying to figure out how to do. "They're here," said a voice over the station's speakers. Hyun and Gina hurried to the docking area. Through the big glass window they saw the Azuri ship. It was long and smooth with no sharp edges. It glowed with a soft blue light. Next to their human ships, it looked very advanced. "It's beautiful," Gina whispered. The station shook slightly as the alien ship connected to the docking port. Hyun straightened his back and put on his most formal face. The round door opened with a hiss of air. 5 aliens walked into the station. They had blue skin that seemed to shine with its own light. Each had 4 large eyes that blinked in pairs. They wore simple white clothes that flowed around their thin bodies. The one in front wore a silver chain around his neck. "Welcome to Harmony Station," Hyun said with a formal bow. "I am Commander Hyun Park of the United Earth Space Force." The alien with the silver chain stepped forward. "I am Ambassador Talorn of the Azuri Collective. We are pleased to finally meet your kind face to face." His words came through a small black box on his chest, a translator. His voice sounded almost musical, but there was something in it that Gina noticed right away. It was the same tone her old professor used when talking to first-year students, like he was speaking to children. "We have prepared a tour of our station," Hyun said, not seeming to notice the tone. "Then we can discuss how our peoples might work together." Talorn's 4 eyes blinked. "Yes, that would be educational." As they walked through the station, the aliens looked at everything. They touched the walls and examined the computers. Sometimes they made small sounds to each other, in their own language which the translators didn't change. "Are they laughing?" Engineer Sun Ho whispered to Gina as they entered the science lab. Gina watched the aliens carefully. "I think they might be." The tour continued to the engine room, where Sun showed them the newest human technology. "This is our quantum resonance stabilizer," he said proudly. "It's a key part of our new drive system." Ambassador Talorn picked up one of the small metal devices. It was shaped like a disc with a glowing center. "How quaint," he said, turning it over in his long blue fingers. "Quaint?" Hyun asked. "Yes, simple but charming, in an old-fashioned way." The translator conveyed the alien's words perfectly. "Your species is trying to use quantum tunneling for space travel. We mastered this technology over 500 years ago." Sun's face turned slightly red, but he kept his polite smile. Another Azuri, who had been introduced as their chief scientist, pointed at the large engine core. "Your containment field design is interesting, though I'm surprised you use such a basic approach." Gina had been quiet for most of the tour, watching and listening, but now she stepped forward. "Ambassador Talorn, may I ask what powers your full drive's primary containment field?" Talorn seemed surprised by her question. He looked at Gina as if seeing her for the first time. "A series of specialized graviton matrices, of course. Technology I doubt you'll develop for centuries." Gina nodded slowly. "And these matrices, do they use a hexagonal or spiral pattern?" The alien blinked all 4 eyes at once. "Hexagonal, naturally. It's the only stable configuration." Gina and Sun looked at each other. They had been working on hexagonal matrix designs for months, and something about the way the ambassador described the technology seemed strangely familiar. The tour continued, through other parts of the station. The aliens saw how humans lived in space, their small rooms, their exercise area, the place where they grew some of their own food. "Your life support systems are quite sturdy," said one Azuri, touching the thick pipes that carried air. "We prefer a more elegant approach, but this certainly seems effective." Every comment sounded like praise on the surface, but Gina could hear the hidden criticism. It was like being patted on the head for a drawing stuck on a refrigerator. Later, in the meeting room, Ambassador Talorn showed holograms of Azuri technology. Their ships could fold space, jumping between stars in days instead of years. Their cities floated above their planet's surface. Their medicine could fix almost any injury or illness. "We hope that in time, we can help your species advance," Talorn said. "With guidance, you might reach our level in just a few generations." Hyun kept his face calm and thankful, as a good diplomat should. But Gina saw his jaw tighten slightly. After the aliens left for their ship to rest, the human team gathered in Hyun's office. "They think we're children," Sun said, no longer hiding his frustration. "Did you see how they looked at our engines? Like they were cute toys." "We need to be patient," Hyun said. "They do have much to teach us." Gina had been quiet, thinking. Now she pulled out her tablet and showed them a design. "This is a copy of the quantum stabilizer pattern I saw on their ship's schematics." Sun leaned closer. "That looks almost exactly like the design we found in those old files from the digital archives." "The ones dated 2182? Hyun asked, surprised. No, Gina said. The ones we couldn't date properly. The really old ones. She pulled up another image. It was worn and faded, but the pattern was clear. A hexagonal matrix, just like the one the Azuri used. Where did this come from? Hyun asked, suddenly very serious. It was found carved on a stone tablet in Korea. They thought it was just a pretty design. Gina zoomed in on the image. It's over 1,000 years old. The room went quiet as they looked at the ancient carving. The pattern matched the Azuri technology almost perfectly. That's not possible, Sun finally said. Humans 1,000 years ago didn't even have electricity. According to our history books, Gina said quietly. Before they could discuss it more, the station's alarm sounded. Commander, park to the observation deck, called a voice. They hurried through the hallways. On the observation deck, a group of people stood looking out at the stars. But they weren't looking at the Azuri ship. They were looking at something else. It just appeared on our scans, said the radar operator. It was hidden behind the moon. On the big screen they saw it. A ship dark and silent. Not Azuri. Not human. At least not any human design they knew. How long has it been there? Hyun asked. Unknown, sir, but... The operator hesitated. It's giving off no heat, no energy. Like it's been dead for a very long time. As they watched, the lights on the bridge flickered. The unknown ship seemed to absorb the light around it, and on its side, barely visible, was a symbol, the same hexagonal pattern that the Azuri used, the same pattern from the ancient Korean stone. Gina felt a chill run down her back. Commander, I think we need to take a closer look at that ship. Hyun nodded slowly, his eyes not leaving the screen. I think you're right, Science Officer Kim, and I think our new Azuri friends need to see it too. Ambassador Talorn sat across from Commander Hyun in the meeting room. His four eyes blinked slowly, one pair after the other. Commander, we noticed your ship near the moon, Talorn said. Did you find something interesting there? Hyun kept his face calm. We were checking our lunar equipment, standard procedure. Talorn's blue skin seemed to glow brighter for a moment. Is that so? Our sensors detected another ship in that area. A very old ship. Really? Hyun tried to sound surprised. We didn't see anything unusual. Talorn leaned forward. Commander, if we are to be friends, we must be honest with each other. We know you found the old ship. We are very interested in it. Hyun thought quickly. He needed to be careful with what he said next. We did find an old ship, he admitted. We don't know much about it yet. May we examine it together? Talorn asked. Such ancient technology could help both our peoples. Of course, Hyun said with a small smile. Tomorrow we can go together. After the meeting, Hyun hurried back to his team. They were still studying the data crystal in a small lab. The Azuri want to examine the ship with us tomorrow, he told them. We need to learn as much as we can before then. Gina looked up from her work. We found more recordings on the crystal, and we think we know where to find more information. Where? Hyun asked. Earth, Sun answered. In a place called the Himalayan Data Vault. The next morning, while Hyun took Ambassador Talorn and two Azuri scientists to see the ancient ship, Gina and Sun flew to Earth. They landed near a mountain in what was once called Nepal. The Himalayan Data Vault had been built in 2100. It was a huge storage place for humanity's knowledge hidden deep in the mountains where it would be safe from any disaster. I've never been here before, Sun said as they entered the large metal doors built into the mountainside. An older man with gray hair met them inside. His name tag said Director Jin Lee. Welcome to the vault, Jin said. Your message said this was urgent. Gina nodded. We need to see the oldest records you have, specifically anything about something called the Hidden Valley Scholars or the Temporal Horizon Project. Jin's eyes widened. Those are very specific names, and very old. Once follow me. He led them deep into the mountain. The halls were cold and quiet. Finally, they reached a room filled with old computers and storage devices. These hold records that survived the global information restructuring, of 2155, Jin explained. Most people don't even know these exist. What was the global information restructuring? Sun asked. After World War III, many records were lost or damaged. The world governments decided to organize all remaining knowledge, but some things were left out. Jin turned on an old computer. Things that didn't fit with the official history. Gina and Sun looked at each other. This was bigger than they had thought. For hours they searched through the old files. Most were damaged or incomplete. Then Gina found something. "Look at this," she said, pointing to the screen. "It's a map from the year 1000, but look at these marks." The map showed Asia, with several small marks in different places. One was in Korea, one in China, one in Japan, and one in what was now Nepal. Those could be locations of these Hidden Valley scholars, Sun suggested. Jin typed on the keyboard, searching for more information. Here's something about the Korean location. The screen showed an old document. It was written in ancient Korean, but the computer translated it. Master Bayek has completed the time crystal array. Tests show it can view 3 days into the future. The Council is concerned about wider implications. Work will continue in the Hidden Valley. Time crystal? Sun read aloud. They were working on time technology 1,000 years ago. Jin looked, troubled. There are stories, old myths about wise men who could see the future. Most people think they're just legends. We need more information, Gina said. Is there anything about the Temporal Horizon project? Jin searched again. This time he found a video file. It was very old and damaged, but they could see a group of people wearing simple clothes from ancient times. They were standing in a cave with strange devices around them. A man who looked like the Master Beck from the other recording was speaking. The temporal horizon is complete. The ship can now travel not just through space but through moments of time. But the cost is high. Each journey creates cracks in reality. We have seen what happens when those cracks grow too large. The video became unclear, then showed a different scene. It looked like a city being torn apart by strange energy. Cannot control it. The Council has decided. All technology must be hidden. Our knowledge must be buried until humanity is ready. The severance will begin tomorrow. May our descendants forgive us. The video ended. The three people sat in silence. The severance, Gina whispered. They deliberately hid their technology. They buried their knowledge. But why? Sun asked. And how did they have this technology in the year 1000? Jin stood up and walked to another computer. There's one more file you should see. It was found during a dig in old Beijing in 2130. He showed them a picture of an ancient scroll. On it was a drawing of Earth from space, something people in the year 1000 shouldn't have been able to see. Next to it were the same hexagonal patterns they had seen on the ship and in the Azuri technology. This is impossible, Sun said. People, in the year 1000, didn't know what Earth looked like from space. Unless they had been in space, Gina said quietly. Jin nodded slowly. There have always been gaps in our history. Times where knowledge seemed to appear or disappear suddenly. What if our history isn't a straight line forward? What if we've been here before? Gina's communicator beeped. It was a message from Commander Hyun. Return immediately. The Azuri have found something on the ship and they're not happy. Back on the Harmony station, Hyun was waiting for them. He looked worried. What happened? Gina asked. The Azuri recognized some of the technology on the ship, Hyun explained. They say it's similar to artifacts found on their world 500 years ago. Artifacts that helped them develop their fold drive. Did you tell them the ship is human? Sun asked. Hyun shook his head. Not yet, but they're suspicious. Talorn keeps asking about Master Beck. One of the symbols on the ship matched a name in their records. We found more information, Gina said. She told him about the time technology and the severance. Hyun's face grew more serious with each word. So you're saying that humans 1,000 years ago had technology more advanced than what we have now? And they hid it on purpose? Yes, Gina nodded. And I think the Azuri found some of it. Their technology might actually be based on old, human technology. Just then, the station shook slightly. Alarms began to sound. "What's happening?" Sun asked. A voice came over the speakers. "Commander, the ancient ship is activating. It's giving off energy readings." They rushed to the control room. On the big screen, they could see the old ship. It was no longer dark. Lights were coming on along its hull. The hexagonal pattern was glowing bright blue. "How is this possible?" Hyun asked. "It was dead when we found it. The Azuri must have activated something when they were examining it," Sun suggested. Talorn burst into the control room. His blue skin was almost white with shock. "What have you done?" he demanded. "The ship is sending a signal." "We didn't do anything," Hyun protested. "Your scientists were the last ones on board." Before Talorn could answer, a new voice came over the station's speakers. It was speaking an ancient language, but somehow everyone could understand it. "Temporal horizon. Activated return protocol initiated. Preparing for time shift in 1 hour. Foreigners mocked human tech until they realized we built it 1000. Time shift in 1 hour." The strange voice from the ancient ship repeated its message. Everyone in the control room of Harmony Station was silent. Then they all started talking, at once. "What does it mean, time shift?" one technician asked. "We need to move the station away from that ship," another shouted. Commander Hyun raised his hand for quiet. "Everyone stay calm. We need to understand what's happening." "Ambassador," Talorn stepped closer to Hyun. His blue skin had paled to a light gray color. "Your people built that ship," Talorn said. It wasn't a question. Hyun looked at Gina and Sun, then back at Talorn. "We think so, but it was built 1,000 years ago." Talorn's 4 eyes blinked rapidly. "Impossible. Your people were primitive then." "That's what we thought too," Gina said. "But we found evidence that some humans had very advanced technology long ago. They called themselves the Hidden Valley Scholars." Talorn became very still. "The Hidden Valley Scholars? Are you certain that was the name?" "Yes," Sun answered. "Do you know that name?" The Azuri ambassador turned to his scientists and spoke in their language. They seemed very upset. Then he faced the humans again. "We found records on our world, ancient writings that spoke of visitors from the stars. They called themselves the Hidden Valley Scholars. They gave our ancestors knowledge that changed our world." Talorn paused. "We always thought they were gods or aliens, not humans." "They left technology on your world?" Hyun asked. "Yes. 500 years ago we found a crashed ship in our mountains. The technology inside helped us develop space travel in just a few generations." Sun laughed softly. "So, all this time you've been using human technology and didn't know it." Talorn didn't seem amused. "If what you say is true, then this ship is very dangerous. Our records say the scholars had mastered time itself, but it brought disaster." "We saw something about that in the records," Gina said. "They called it cracks. In reality." The station shook again. On the screen, the ancient ship was glowing brighter. "Time shift in 50 minutes, the voice announced. "We need to stop it," Hyun decided. "We need to go back to the ship." "I will come with you," Talorn said. "This concerns my people too." 20 minutes later, Hyun, Gina, Sun, and Talorn were in a small ship heading toward the ancient vessel. 2 Azuri scientists and 2 human security officers came with them. "What exactly is a time shift?" Hyun asked as they flew. "Based on the records we found," Gina explained. "The Temporal Horizon project was about time travel. This ship can move through time." "And where is it going?" one of the security officers asked. "Or when is it going?" Sun added. They reached the old ship and connected to it. Inside, everything had changed. The halls were now lit with a soft blue light. The air was fresh and warm. It felt like the ship was alive again. They made their way to the central room with the crystal pillar. Now the pillar was glowing with bright energy. Symbols and numbers flowed across its surface. "It's beautiful," Gina whispered. One of the Azuri scientists moved to a control panel. "These readings are amazing. The energy levels are beyond anything we've ever seen. Don't touch anything, Hyun warned. We need to find a way to shut it down. They searched the room, looking for something that might be an off switch. Sun found another data crystal and put it into a reader on the wall. A hologram appeared above the crystal pillar. It showed Master Beck. "Greetings, travelers," the hologram said. "If you are seeing this message, the temporal horizon has awakened. The ship senses that humanity has reached the stars again and made contact with other beings. It is time for the truth to be revealed. Ask it how to stop the time shift," Hyun said to Sun. Sun spoke to the hologram. "How do we stop the time shift?" The image of Master Beck smiled. "The time shift cannot be stopped. It is necessary. But do not fear. The ship will only travel a short distance in time, back one day. This is a demonstration of its power, so you will understand what you have found." "Why did you hide this technology?" Gina asked. "Because we saw what unlimited power over time would do to humanity," the hologram answered. "We weren't ready for it. The temptation to change the past, to fix history, was too great. The damage to reality too severe." "What damage?" Talorn asked. "Each journey through time creates fractures, small breaks in the fabric of reality. Small jumps create small fractures that heal. But large jumps, or too many jumps, create fractures that grow. We watched as entire regions of space-time collapsed. Whole cities vanished as if they never existed. People being erased from history. Everyone in the room looked worried now. "So you hid the technology," Hyun said. "Yes. We decided to hide our knowledge, to give humanity a fresh start, a chance to grow more slowly, more wisely. We scattered our ships across the solar system. We erased our work from history. We waited for the day when humans would reach the stars again and be ready for the truth." "Time shift in 20 minutes, the ship's voice announced. "We should leave," one of the security officers said, sounding scared. "No," Hyun replied. "We need to learn more. This is too important." Talorn had been quiet, thinking. Now he stepped forward. "These Hidden Valley scholars, they visited my world?" The hologram of Master Bayek nodded. "Yes. We visited many worlds. We shared some of our simpler technologies with promising species. The Azuri were one such species." Talorn's blue skin flushed darker. "All this time we thought we were helping humans advance, but we were using their own technology." Sun couldn't help but smile. "Not so primitive now, are we?" "Time shift in 15 minutes, the ship announced. Suddenly, the ship shook hard. Everyone grabbed onto something to stay standing. "What was that?" Gina asked. One of the Azuri scientists was looking at a control panel. "Another ship is attacking us. It's an Azuri warship." Talorn looked shocked. "That's not possible. We didn't bring warships." They rushed to a window. Outside they could see a large Azuri ship firing energy beams at the ancient vessel. "Why are they attacking?" Hyun demanded. Talorn's 4 eyes blinked nervously. I sent a message to my government about what we found. They must have sent a military ship to secure the technology." "To steal it, you mean?" Sun said angrily. The hologram of Master Beck spoke again. "Warning, attack detected, defense systems activated." The ancient ship shuddered, then fired back at the Azuri warship. A beam of golden light shot out and hit the attacker. The Azuri ship's engines went dark. "What happened to them?" Talorn asked. "Worried. Temporal disruption field," the hologram explained. "Their ship is frozen in time for 1 hour. They are unharmed but cannot move or attack." "Time shift in 10 minutes, the ship announced. "All non-essential personnel should prepare for temporal transition." "What happens if we're on board during the time shift?" Gina asked the hologram. "You will travel with the ship back one day in time. The process is safe for living beings." Hyun looked at his team. "We need to decide. Do we stay or leave?" Talorn stepped forward. "I wish to stay. My people must learn the truth about our technology." Sun nodded. "I'm staying too. I want to see how this works." "I'll stay," Gina agreed. Hyun thought for a moment, then turned to the security officers. "Take our ship back to Harmony Station. Tell them what's happening. We'll return. Tomorrow. Or yesterday, I suppose. After the officers left, the four of them, Hyun, Gina, Sun, and Talorn, gathered near the crystal pillar. The two Azuri scientists decided to stay as well. Time shift in 5 minutes, the ship announced. Are we really going to travel through time? Sun asked, his voice a mix of fear and excitement. It appears so, Hyun said calmly. We are about to see something no one has seen in 1,000 years. The crystal pillar began to spin slowly. The blue light grew brighter, filling the room. Symbols and patterns flowed across the walls. Time shift in 1 minute. Please remain still during transition. Talorn looked at the humans. I must apologize for how we treated your people. We thought we were superior. We were wrong. Hyun nodded. We all have much to learn from each other. The light from the crystal became so bright they had to close their eyes. Time shift beginning. The ship hummed with power. They felt a strange pulling sensation, as if they were being stretched in all directions at once. The floor seemed to vanish beneath their feet. Hold on, Gina called out. And then, everything went white. The white light faded slowly. Hyun, Gina, Sun, Talorn, and the two Azuri scientists blinked their eyes trying to see again. The ship had stopped humming. Is everyone okay? Hyun asked, looking around. They all nodded, a bit shaky but unhurt. Did it work? Sun wondered. Are we in the past? Gina looked at her wrist device. According to my clock, we've gone back exactly 24 hours. Talorn walked to a window and looked out. The Azuri warship is gone, and... He paused, surprised. Your space station isn't there either. Hyun joined him at the window. The Earth and Moon looked the same, but Harmony Station was missing from its usual spot. We arrived before the station moved to this area, Hyun realized. Yesterday, it was Dam, on the other side of Earth. Time shift complete, the ship's voice announced, returning control to users. The hologram of Master Beck appeared again. The demonstration is complete. You have experienced temporal displacement. The ship will return to your original time in 12 hours. Why show us this? Gina asked the hologram. Why reveal this technology now? Because you are ready to know the truth, Master Beck replied, and because you must choose what happens next. The hologram waved its hand and new images appeared around them. They showed Earth and other planets. They showed ancient humans building spaceships and traveling to the stars. 1,000 years ago, Master Beck explained, a group of scholars from around the world formed a secret society. We made discoveries in science and math that were far ahead of our time. We built ships that could travel between stars. We visited other worlds, including the Azuri homeworld. But how? Sun asked. How did you make such advances in ancient times? Humanity has always been capable of greatness. We simply worked together, sharing knowledge from many cultures: Chinese astronomy, Indian mathematics, Persian engineering, Korean metallurgy, African medicine, all combined. The images changed to show the time technology being developed. Then we discovered how to move through time. At first, we only looked a few days ahead, then months, then years. We thought we could use this knowledge to help humanity avoid wars and disasters. The images now turned dark, showing cities being destroyed and strange cracks appearing in the air. But we were wrong. The more we changed time, the more damage we caused to reality itself. Space and time began to fracture. Entire futures were erased. We realized we had gone too far. Talorn spoke up. So you decided to hide everything? Yes. We called it the severance. We took our ships and technology and hid them across the solar system. We removed our work from history. We let humanity start fresh, to develop more slowly, more naturally. And what do you want us to do now? Hyun asked. The hologram of Master Bayek looked at each of them. You must decide. This ship contains the complete knowledge of the Hidden Valley scholars. You could use it to advance both your civilizations by centuries, or you could hide it again, until a time when you are truly ready. The hologram disappeared, leaving them in silence. For hours they explored the ship, finding more data crystals and learning about the ancient technology. They discovered that the Hidden Valley scholars had visited 12 different worlds, sharing some basic technology with each. So the Azuri truly were using human technology all along, Sun said to Talorn. How does that feel? Talorn was quiet for a moment. Humbling. My people have always been proud of our advances. To learn that we were given this knowledge rather than creating it ourselves. He sighed. But perhaps it is good to be humbled. In another room, Gina found detailed plans for the Azuri fold drive. Look at this, she called to the others. The scholars gave the Azuri ancestors only part of the design. They kept the most dangerous elements secret. Wise, Hyun said. They shared knowledge, but carefully. As the hours passed, they talked about what to do with the ship and its knowledge. They sat in a circle in the main room near the crystal pillar. We could use this technology to advance both our peoples, one of the Azuri scientists said. Think of the benefits. And the dangers, Hyun replied. Remember what happened to the scholars. The technology destroyed entire realities. Perhaps we could use only parts of it, Sun suggested. The safe parts. Gina shook her head. Who decides what's safe? And what happens when someone wants more? Countries will fight over this technology. So will corporations. Talorn had been quiet for a while. Now he spoke. There is a story on my world about a young child who found a powerful weapon. The child thought he could use it only for good, but the weapon changed him, made him want to use it more and more. What happened to the child? Hyun asked. He destroyed himself and his village. Talorn looked at the crystal pillar. I think the Hidden Valley scholars were right. Some knowledge must wait until we are ready. As the 12 hours neared their end, they made their decision. The ship announced it would return to their original time in 10 minutes. Hyun, Gina, and Sun prepared the final commands based on what they had learned from the ship's systems. Talorn and his scientist helped. Are we sure about this? Sun asked one last time. Hyun nodded. Yes, it's the right choice. Time shift beginning in 5 minutes, the ship announced. Gina finished entering the final commands. It's done. When we return, the ship will follow our instructions. Once again, they felt the strange pulling sensation as the white light filled the room, and then they were back in their original time. Outside the window, they could see Harmony Station. The Azuri warship was still frozen in time nearby. Their own small ship was docked where they had left it. Let's go, Hyun said. We have work to do. They returned to Harmony Station, where a very surprised crew welcomed them. It seemed that for everyone else they had disappeared for only a few minutes, not 12 hours. In the main meeting room, Hyun, Gina, Sun, and Talorn sat with Director Jin, who had come from Earth, and the captain of the Azuri warship, who was not happy about being frozen in time. We've made a decision about the ancient ship, Hyun announced, with agreement from both human and Azuri representatives. The ship will be placed in a stable orbit around the sun, Gina explained. It will be studied by a joint team of humans and Azuri, but its time technology will remain inactive. Why? The Azuri captain demanded. Such power should be used. Talorn looked at his fellow Azuri. Because we are not ready. Neither of our peoples is ready for such power. The Hidden Valley scholars learned this lesson 1,000 years ago. Instead, Sun added, we will focus on what we can learn safely. The ship contains much knowledge that can help both our worlds without risking reality itself. Director Jin nodded. A wise choice. Sometimes the greatest wisdom is knowing what knowledge to leave alone. Later, as they watched the ancient ship move away from the station toward its new orbit, Hyun stood with Gina and Sun by the window. Do you think we made the right choice? Sun asked. Yes, Hyun said. The scholars could have ruled the world with their technology. Instead, they chose to protect it. And now we've done the same, Gina added. The Azuri have changed too, Hyun noted. Talorn doesn't look down on humans anymore. Gina smiled. Hard to look down on someone when you learn they invented your technology 1,000 years ago. As the ship grew smaller in the distance, they could still see its faint blue glow. It carried the legacy of those ancient scholars, their knowledge, their warnings, and their wisdom. 1,000 years in the past, humans had reached for the stars and touched time itself. Then they had the wisdom to wait until the time was right. Now, humans and Azuri would move forward together, learning from the past but not rushing toward a dangerous future. In the end, the greatest technology wasn't time travel or spaceships. It was patience.